Season 6, 24, it opens. David Palmer, the late President Palmer. His brother, Wayne, got in office, so now he's the president. It's interesting. Ex-military, never seen combat. Cool dude, though. Okay, he had to make a terrible decision. Apparently in the last 20 months, when Jack has been locked up in a Chinese prison and being beaten and tortured, and he never said a word. The Chinese said he never spoke one word the entire time he was there. We come to find out that there's been terrorist attacks of Middle Eastern origin in the United States, all over the place. Bombs going off all the time, suicide bombers, all this crazy stuff going on. Well, it used to be this organization, well, there must be hundreds or thousands, they say they're trying to scare us into thinking there, but who knows, there might be. That was run by one guy named Assad. Well, apparently they're terrorizing China too, because Assad said, China said, we'll give you Jack back if you bring us Assad. We'll just do a prisoner exchange. We know he's in your country. Get him. Well, Assad had turned over a new leaf 6 months prior and was saying he wants to stop the terrorism. He's trying to tell all his people that have been following and killing people all these years, stop, stop, stop. We need peace. I guess he got old enough. He got tired. I don't know. And, of course, a large part of the organization is like, fuck you, dude. No, we're going to keep killing these people. You've lost sight. You're old. We're just, we're going to, whatever. So they're like, hey, man, they tell the U.S. government, we'll tell you where Assad is if you give us Jack. And the U.S. government said, okay. It was a hard decision for them to make. But they didn't know they didn't know any other way to stop these attacks. They're like, well, maybe if we get rid of the head guy, who they thought was the head guy, because he was all those years, but he wasn't anymore. But they thought he was. They didn't believe he was turning over a new leaf. They thought, fuck it, China wants him, we'll get him. Who gives a shit? We'll get him. Well, we got to try anything. They're desperate. Desperation. See, they want us to be desperate. And Jack comes back and they drag him right off the plane into this room and start showing him all these pictures of broken bodies. Jack's hair's all long, his beard, he's all like, he's all PTSD'd out. And he's just like, oh, and he's looking, he's like, yeah, I understand, whatever. And they're like, Jack, do you understand what's going on? And he's like, does it matter? Like, whatever, dude. Like, he knows they're going to turn him over and to be killed. Probably tortured first. He's just like, yeah, whatever, I get it. And they're like, we're sorry. Like, it's his friends from CTU. He's like, don't worry about it, man, but can I at least get a shower first? So he goes and gets a shower, changes clothes, and gets a haircut. And a shave. His beard was down to here, Anyway, so Jack's back. So then they take him over and they handcuff him to this door so that the terrorists can kill him from a distance, a sniper. So they intend on shooting Jack and then telling CTU where to find Assad, who doesn't know he's being turned over by his old buddies. Somehow Jack escapes. I do not remember how he did it, but because he's like a miracle worker. So somehow he escapes and realizes that Assad is not the one. I don't know how. He ran across some information somehow. He realized Assad was not the one behind it all. And he said, look. He called CT. He's like, look, CTU, man, you're messing up. This ain't the guy. This ain't the guy. This ain't the guy that's doing it. And they're like, yeah. And he's like, listen to me. So somehow he gets a hold of the information of where Assad is because he finds out that our military is going to go bomb this guy's house to kill him or something. I don't know how you can prove to China, hey, we got this guy. I don't get it. But anyway, it's TV. But somehow Jack figures it out, goes in the house and rescues Assad. Explains to Assad that all his guys around him aren't good, that there's a mole in his group trying to turn him over to the Chinese. And he's like, what? And he's like, dude, man, seriously, listen to me. And he's like, okay. Like, they play it out in the room real quick, and they find out who the bad guy is. And then Jack drags the guy running out of the house. The missile falls on the frickin' house. A house in a neighborhood in California, in L.A., in Inglewood. Anyway, so Jack rescues the guy, Assad, and he gets in the car with him somehow. I don't know where they came up with the car. But anyway, because it all happened so fast, I can't remember everything. So he and Assad are riding in the car, and he calls CT. He's like, I got him, man, it's cool. And they're like, Jack, man, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, I'm telling you, man, this dude he's innocent of this particular thing. We know he's the guiltiest man alive. We get it, but he's not doing this. So you can't turn him over to the Chinese because he's not the one, because it'd be a waste of time. I mean, sure, we'd love to see this guy tortured to death, but it's not going to stop the other guy. Okay? His name starts with an F. I can't think of it right now. Anyway, and they're like, no, Jack, you're just dumb. He's like, look, man, whatever. So he goes dark or whatever for a little while, trying to find out how to hide this guy, trying to find the other dude. At any rate, my point being, he gets to a point where his friend Curtis, who just chained him to a door just previously, a few minutes ago, from CTU, was he used to be a soldier, and he was ambushed by Hassad's guys years ago, and this guy ordered the beheading of some of his friends, and he's horrified that Jack is, like, linking up with this guy and saying, we got to kill this dude, fuck this dude, and he's like, Curtis, Jack says, Curtis, this guy has information that we could cut a deal with him and stop what is happening now. He's like, I don't care, because his psyche broke, man. He grabbed that guy, he had him by the throat, and he had a gun to his head. Jack says, you can't kill him, He's the only one that knows how to undo all these nuclear bombs that are getting ready to go off, right? And Curtis says, I don't fucking care. Jack had to shoot his friend through the neck. He fell on the ground. I mean, this is like 45 minutes. I mean, this might be 20 minutes after he was like, because this is all 1 hour show, and it's literally 1 hour of time in their life as well. So less than an hour, Jack's like handed from the Chinese to that. Then he has to shoot his friend. He runs down. He just totally has a psychotic break at that point, to a degree. I've seen them happen, so I know what they look like now. And he stumbles down the road, and he falls down on his knees. He vomits. He's just freaking out because he had to kill his friend to stop him from killing the guy that had the information to stop the nuclear bombs that were going to kill millions. See, Curtis found his level. Like, Curtis ran up against his breaking point and said, fuck this, I'm not doing it for the rest of the world anymore, fuck this guy, and wanted to kill him. So he winds up dead. Jack's breaking point is obviously his threshold is higher than Curtis's, which is that good or bad? It's horrible, really, in the long run. What Jack has endured, he would rather be dead. And that's what he said. He's like, I welcome death after everything I've experienced. But now he's got these people begging him, please, we know you had to kill Curtis. You had to. We're so sorry. And he's just like, oh, I can't do it. They're like, we need you to lead this investigation since you're the one that has the insight into his side and you knew all this stuff. And he's like, I can't lead it, Bill. And he's like, well, if you don't, trillions of people are going to die. It kind of reminds me of the Christian church, where they'll tell me, if you don't lead everybody you know to Jesus Christ, they're all going to hell. And it'll be your fault, because you should be able to, you should be able to save all these people. The hell with yourself, what's going on in your life, what's going on in your... I mean, it's really nuts, the parallels. So, they've shown us this show and this series, and this guy, Jack, is basically a sociopath at this point. Whether he's been born that way, or whether he's a pseudo-sociopath, I'd like to call it. Like, he's been through experiences where his brain was trained, or I should say, broken in ways where it had to compartmentalize for survival. Now we've got this sociopath that we love. The audience, we love him. We love him so much. But I'll tell you what, he has no problem snapping and turning on his family members if he thinks that they're a traitor to the country. He grabbed his girlfriend by the neck last season and shoved her up against the wall and was screaming in her face in an interrogation room saying, you better tell me, whatever it was she knew. But she was being set up. She didn't know anything. And then he apologizes to her later and they kiss. I'm thinking, yeah, sex and violence. Okay, dokie. Just subtly, just put it in there that we can forgive this kind of betrayal. We can forgive this kind of attack and go fall in bed together. Well, they didn't fall in bed together. They were too busy. But I'm just saying that, we're supposed to imagine that later they did, if this ever ended, if this crisis ever ended, they were going to be back together. They are messing with our minds hard, because, I mean, I've watched this guy, well, I've covered my ear, I go, ooh, so I can't hear, I close my eyes, and I, like, roll my fingers around so I can't hear these horrible parts, because I just don't want to fill my head with any more of the images. They do the most horrible things on this show, and it's 20 years old. I'm like, they were showing this on TV? Because I'm not real familiar with TV today. I mean, I got away from it like 20 years ago because of this. I was like, I can't. And they had some guy bushing the guy's head on the concrete, just a total regular citizen, because he was told his family was going to be killed immediately if he didn't get this object from this guy, and he frickin' smashed his head on the concrete floor. I mean, this was just an ordinary white bread American dad, man, a nerdy computer guy. I mean, he went in there and he killed this dude to try to save his family. Unbelievable stuff people will be driven to do. My point was, Jack was saying, I can't do this, Bill, but they made him do it. So we break these soldiers down and make them think they're the only ones that can save the world. Only you can prevent forest fires. Only you, Christian soldier, can prevent your family members and friends from going to hell. You have to live that life in front of you. You got to preach. You got to walk the talk. You got to walk the talk. You got to do all the... It's up to you. It's up to you. It's up to you. We are pushed. I mean, these things are pushed on us. And then we accept this sociopath that tortures his own family members. I mean, we love him because it's the greater good. But you see the dilemma in his mind. I mean, he is struggling with this. And the last night, we're in season 6. And this guy was brought back into CTU from years ago, apparently, like before the series started. Like in the world of this, you know, whatever. He's a really cool guy, Morris. Apparently, he was brilliant enough to know how to arm nuclear bombs. So they had these decommissioned bombs from Russia. That's the ones they're using on us. And they had their own terrorist dude that knew how to arm them, and then he got killed somehow. I forget how that happened. So they're looking for another dude to arm these bombs, and they've got this access to all these records. So they find out by searching in the records that this guy knows how to do it. Now, he's not a terrorist. He works for CTU, but he knows how to do it. They set him up to believe his brother has been injured. He's at the hospital from one of the bombs going on. And he rushes out of CTU to go see his brother. And they're waiting for him. They lie in wait. They pick him up on the road. And they, of course, threaten his life and threaten everybody they know if he doesn't arm these fucking bombs. Well, he's like, no, I'm going to do shit, man. Well, they terrorize him. They torture him. They put a drill in his frickin' shoulder, and they're drilling him. I thought they broke his frickin' legs. They were beating him with a bat. I don't know how he walked away. He did walk away, which is stupid. It's ridiculous. But he broke, and he said, I'll do it, I'll do it. And he did it. He armed the bomb. And, well, he did it. He was able to give him the arming, whatever. Well, then, did Jack rescue him? It's so hard to remember how it all went down. He got away. I guess Jack rescued him. He must have. But he can't even live with himself. Now, he wants to die because he didn't put up with that much torture unto death. He went ahead and did the arming computer sequencing thing that they needed him to do. And he hated himself so much for doing it because he couldn't handle being tortured to death. And so now this guy's thinking he's the worst person that ever lived because he armed these bombs, because he stopped these people from drilling, a literal giant drill. They had him against a wall. They were drilling. I mean, I wasn't looking at that. I mean, Lenny told me about it. Our country wants us to be tortured to death, pretending that it's going to be to save trillions of people, and you will be a hero. And if you can't do that, you're a worthless piece of trash. And that's what the masks are about. If you don't wear a mask, you're a traitor to your country. You're a traitor to mankind. How dare you? What's the big deal? It's just a mask. Nobody's drilling you in the shoulder. Nobody's breaking your legs with a bat. What's wrong with you? Why can't you just be a good Christian soldier and wear your satanic, Baal-worshipping mask for the greater good? Have a great day.